You've locked me out. Let me log in.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another edition of Let's Give It a Voice here at the Voice of Hope Media. Today our topic of discussion is going to be on suicide prevention, why individuals decide to take their lives. I am still your host, the leading voice of hope and empowerment, Clarice Angafor. September is celebrated every year as World Suicide Prevention Month, and the 10th of September is World Suicide Prevention Day, a day where we are reminded of what can happen when people who are in crisis sometimes they feel like they have no option but to take their lives. It is also crucially a time when we can all come together and highlight the life-saving services that are available for anyone going through a difficult time. Every day is Suicide Prevention Day. In fact, every day should be Suicide Prevention Day. It is time. The time is right now for each and every one of us to check in on the people around us. More than 100 people per week die of suicide. Did you know that? With male suicide reaching its highest level in 2 decades. But united, we are stronger. So join us now. Let's give it a voice. It is going to be a 2-part series of suicide prevention. So the first episode is today, and the second episode will be next Saturday, the 19th of September. On the studio today, we have an amazing team. We have three fabulous ladies on our show today, and a gentleman. So we are going to welcome our Mari Abanga. We are welcoming our grandest sir,
Hi.
Bele Sonke, and Chinazo. We also have, she's still coming on, and then the gentlest of the gentlemen, who is no one else but for Festus. So our next guest is Chinazo Jo Ada. She's got a very beautiful name. So she's sorting out a few things in the background. She'll be joining us very, very soon. Welcome everyone. If you are joining, this is the Voice of Show Media with myself, AC Bang, or in full, Clarice Angafor. And this edition is the Let's Give It a Voice edition, where we give a voice to some of those issues which most often people do not want to talk about. Most often people just want to scare away, or they just want you to bury some of those your sad experiences, some of those your challenging stories, difficult, sad stories you've had. Most people sometimes don't want to talk them because of personal reasons, because of personal experiences, and sometimes because they are too emotional or too sensitive to even talk about. Some shut down, some decide to talk about. Some also, like us here, we share our experiences, because I know that every experience lived has value, it's worthy, and it has the power to transform lives. And that's exactly what we are doing today. That's one of the things we are doing on this show. We are sharing our stories, we are sharing our experiences, because we know that each experience that you faced in life, no matter how little it is valuable, it is worthy, and this experience has the power to transform lives. And here on the studio today, we are talking about suicide prevention. And after this show, it's going to help prevent one suicide, I bet you, in the whole world. We may never know, we may not know, but our discussion today is going to help someone out there. So you are all welcome. And if you're just joining in, you can share, can invite your friends to watch. We welcome our next guest. She is Chinazo Jo Ada. If I haven't pronounced your name, then when you're doing your introduction, you do so. If you're watching, you share, invite your friends, and once more, this is the Voice of Hope Media, and our edition is Let's Give It a Voice. And I am the host. I'm Clarice Angafor, or Asimbeng. We are broadcasting live on Facebook and on YouTube. So let's welcome our guest speakers today. I'll start with Mark. Mark, you are welcome. Introduce yourself. I know it's not your first time on the show today, but this is a new topic, and we may have brand new guests as well. So introduce yourself, and let's go from there.
Okay, hello everybody. I hope you can hear me.
Good. Yes.
You're loud and
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, well, hi everybody. Maria Banga from Cameroon, Douala, Cameroon. Founder of the association Hope for the Abused and the Battered. Suicide survivor. That's a new term I learned, and I'm carrying it, with pride. And mental health advocate. Domestic violence survivors, so many things in one. I loved raising awareness about mental health, mental illnesses. I love talking about things people don't really feel comfortable talking about. And I love using my personal experiences where I have them to do that. It's all in a bid to relate, let people know that it's okay to go through tough times in life and that there is help available. And all in a bit to destigmatize all of these conditions and situations we go through in life. So thank you very much for having me. And I'm excited to be on a platform with my big sister, Belle Sonke, and to meet you, the two other guests.
Thank you so much, Mark. I know we tick somehow because we have similar experiences somehow. And at times you can't really tell why people get to know each other. But thank you so much for honoring our invite today. And we move over to our grandest of grandsons. You're welcome, grandson.
thanks for giving me this platform. Good afternoon. I'm sure most of us are in the zone of the afternoon. And for our viewers, the audience, good morning or good evening to those who are watching from other places. Okay, as you all know, my name is rightly written Mirabel, but popularly known as Belle Sonke. I'm popularly known as Belle Sonke. I'm an international civil servant, but now I'm in the capacity of the promoter and the CEO of the Network for Solidarity, Hope and Empowerment. It's always fun. It's always fun for me. It's like for me, life is full of fun. So for me, as my partner, because we do a lot of things together, Max says it's always nice to talk about difficult topics. We need to learn to normalize the conversation where people think it's a taboo. So you can always see me in this circle where we have to normalize the conversation. So thank you, Clarice. Thanks, Mark, and Festus. Thanks for being on the platform, and Ada. I'll call Ada. Ada, thanks for being with you, and I hope to learn as well. While I don't have an experience, but I think I've never tried it. But sometimes you ask yourself whether life is worth it. Like these are some of the challenges every human being has gone through it. But getting even the guts to like take something, make I've never ever reached that level. As we say, you said earlier, well, this conversation, it's going to stop someone from doing it, from passing to the act. So thank you for getting me on your platform.
Thank you so
Over
much.
to you.
Thank you. Thank you. It's necessary to have these conversations, these so difficult conversations, in order to normalize them. And at times, a life can be saved just by starting a conversation like this one. So we move over to Festus. Thank you so much, my nearest neighbor, which we haven't seen for a couple of months because of lockdown.
Yes,
So,
yes.
introduce yourself.
Thank you all for having me on this platform. My name is Festus Mfor. I'm actually here living in the UK, and I have, I believe, my goal in life and what I'm called to do is to encourage people. So I'm a coach and a mentor in so many different capacities. So I try to build people up and try to encourage them to go for their purpose and what they were born to do, and also to make sure that the decisions that they make in life are actually born out of intentionality. Even the friends you make, the jobs you choose to have, you come up with something that is going to, first of all, build you up. Because if it encourages and enriches your mental capacity, the well-being, then you'll be able to also share that joy and happiness with the people around you. So building an individual, and it is not nothing, it's not being greedy. It's not people say you're greedy if you invest in yourself or if you look after yourself. No, you have to take care of you before you can take care of another person. So I feel like that's what I'm called to do, and that's what I do on my platforms and what I try to share with the public as well.
That's very, very necessary. Yes, sometimes people think self-care is being selfish. No, self-care is a necessity. And I've also discovered that once you don't feel motivated yourself, I do Monday motivation. Sometimes I don't feel like doing them. If I'm not motivated, then it's very difficult for me to help another person. So thank you so much, Festus, for coming on our show today. And we welcome Ada. Our big sister said we should call you Ada, so you let us know which is appropriate for you. I just want to say very special thank you for honoring this invite. It was a little bit of a short notice when I came to you, but you instantly said yes. So I really appreciate you. Thank you. And over to you.
Thank you, Exenberg, and thank you, my fellow speakers, for everyone who's welcomed me, and I welcome you all to the platform as well. And yes, they have to call me Ada. So my official name is Chinazo, but I like to be actually called Ada Joe because Ada in Igbo in Nigeria, where I'm from, means daughter, and Joe is my father's name. So it kind of reminds me that I'm my father's daughter. So basically, my name is Chinazo Ada Joe, as has been said. Originally from Nigeria, currently living in the UK, and I'm a multiple suicide survivor. So I tried to commit suicide 5 times between 2012 and 2017. I've been living with depression for 8 years, and depression hit me when I was in the prime of my life. I was about 28. I have a good job. At that point where like you had it all, and yet I wanted to end my life. But it's been a long journey. I'm still clinically depressed. Honestly, I haven't attempted suicide in the last year, 3 years, and I don't think I will be in by the grace of God. I mean, it's not like I don't want to leave. It's just a lot that you can't really put in words. But anyway, I kind of ever since then become an ambassador for mental health, mental illness, depression, and suicide, and actually having the difficult conversations that is really hard to talk about. So today, Asian Bank sent me to my students, and I looked at them, the human in me and the academic in me wanted to try and Google and prepare and all of that. But from my experience of doing a podcast last year about depression and my journey, I realized that it's better to talk about it from experience because I have tried killing myself 5 times and failed. with different options, different ways we can look at. And I've been living with clinical depression for 8 years. So I feel like it's better to answer these questions from a practical perspective, and that way, like people who are where I've been years ago today can actually connect in reality. So I'm looking forward to actually talking about it and sharing my experiences. I know they're learning as well. My co-host. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ada. I'm so grateful to have you on the show today. And I remember, I think it was last year, I actually reached out to you and we talked quite a lot on depression and a few things. And it really helped me with quite a lot of tips, which I'm still very grateful for them today. And so this is our team today, Marie, Mirabelle, Ada, and Festus. So we are giving a voice today. We are giving a voice to suicide prevention. And we are going to look at those things that what is it that will actually make an individual feel like this is it, I'm done, I don't want to see you, I don't want to live here anymore, I just want to go out there, just go and go without looking back, or whatever methods that people use, or whatever, should I just drive into the middle of the road and get hit by another car? There are so many of them which we are going to look at on our discussion today, but the focus will be on suicide prevention because September is World Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, and we will be talking about reasons why an individual would decide to kill themselves, the causes, and how we can help. And it will be amazing to know that just asking someone, "Are you okay?" can go a long way to prevent that person from committing suicide. We are going to see into that today. Just, "Are you okay?" will really help. So I pray and I hope and I know that after this show today, we will learn and we will know that it is very necessary to ask someone, "Are you okay?" The person may choose not to reply, but deep down there, they know that somebody at least cares to ask them, "Are you okay?" There was a time so many years ago, I just needed someone to ask me, "Clarice, are you okay?" And then I just burst out crying. I just needed that. So we are going to continue with our topic of discussion today. Once more, I'm your host. I'm Clarice Angafo. I pray and I hope and I know that after this show today, not to reply, but deep down there, they know that. Thanks for letting me hear my voice again. So, what is suicide? It's all over the place. What is actually suicide? Bele. So what we are going to do is each and every one of us will tell us what they understand by suicide, and bearing in mind that we have a diverse audience. There are people watching, we don't know where. So we talk about suicide as simple as we can, so that everybody will be able to understand, that even a young child will be able to understand, even a grandparent should be able to understand. Unfortunately, we cannot speak all the dialects, but yes, what do we understand by suicide? Sis Bele, I would like to start with you, then we move over to Marie, Festus, and Chinazo.
Okay. To me, suicide is the act of taking one's own life. It means that I intentionally take away my own life. That is suicide. And you have so many means it can be done. You have some people who try, like some people use drugs, some even use firearms, and like you just talked about crossing the road. We've seen in Europe where people just jump on, the fast trains. You have so many different forms, and it must for it to be suicide, it needs to be intentional. It means it's not an accident. It's something you willingly want to do. So, you can die, but if the intention was not to do that, and then it will not be considered suicide. According to me, that's the way I understand suicide.
Okay, thank you so much for that. What about you, Marie?
For me, suicide from a psychological point of view is the greatest form of self-harm you can inflict on yourself. You know, you are taking yourself out of this life as a solution to your problem and permanent solution. Some people say permanent solution to a temporal problem, but well, at that time you are doing that, you don't see that problem as temporal. You see it as you don't see any hope. So you think the best way to help yourself is to take yourself out of this life altogether. And from a legal point of view, as Belle has said, my grandson has said, you have the act and you have the intention. If there was no intention to do it, even if you fall into a well accidentally, although you went to carry water, that's not suicide. So there has to be the intention and the action of whichever way. So that's how I would define it, very basic terms, and then we'll look at it more in depth progressively. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for that. Festus, what about you? Suicide.
Well,
What comes to mind?
Well, for me, when we talk about suicide, for me it is now it is like having a myriad of opinions and the way people see it, and they try to define what it is. But I would say it is one of these desperate attempts to escape suffering that has become so unbearable. And then when that becomes unbearable, your vision is blinded, and so many things that come to mind. You feel like you're hopeless, you're isolated at the same time. And then the only thing you think, because you'll be looking for a way out, and because you cannot have a solution to what you're going through, you feel like the only alternative left is you take your own life or to exit the planet Earth. And that's the only way. It's not like they don't try to look for a solution. It's almost like people try to find a solution based on what they are going through, and there is no solution or alternative. And the only thing that appeals to them at that moment is to commit suicide.
Oh, it's brilliant. I'm learning quite a lot already. Chinazo, how about you? I don't know why I feel comfortable calling you Chinazo. I think the name
That's
is.
fine as well. That's all right.
Yeah.
From a practical perspective, like I said, we have the professionals there, and you can Google what she says, and you can read from, the World Health Organization on a lot of platforms. But I don't know, try to answer the question from a practical perspective. So, practically, for me, suicide is the decision to end a pain you cannot explain to yourself or anyone else by
Yep.
the act of killing yourself through whatever means you deem necessary, that is painless, but then takes away the breath of life and ends all the pain and the feeling of helplessness, the pain that you cry every day, and the pain that is not seen yet tugs at you daily. So suicide practically is the decision to end all of that by ending your own life through whatever means necessary.
Okay. Wow, that's really brilliant. Thank you. And looking at what all of you have said about suicide, there is that making that decision to end life, to end your own life,
Yeah.
making that decision to end that pain. So which means before someone reaches that stage of where he or she will start thinking of committing suicide or killing self, there must have been a reason. There must have been something or things which have built up or which have led to before that person starts making that decision. And I don't think before that happens, it just comes up instantly. May have been made plans or thoughts, etc., etc., which we are still going to look into that. As we mentioned earlier, September is Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. Suicide prevention, can it really be prevented? What exactly is suicide prevention? I will still start with you, Sis Bell. Let's talk a little bit more on suicide prevention.
I think the issue is like, for me, it's you said earlier, asking somebody, how are you? That how are you is going to make a difference in the person's life. I don't know if I have enough time. I was just discussing a story with my husband today. My husband was telling me about something that happened in 1992. He had just graduated from university, and he was in Douala.
Yep.
So one day they called him that one of his friends is threatening to commit suicide. This
Yeah.
man was an officer. So he said, okay, he looked at the thing very funny, So he said he did rather than going to see this man to stop him or to have a conversation with him, he went to call one of their big friends, while they were coming together, they were having this conversation. Oh, this man, why does he want to commit suicide? I'm sure he's just stressing. What the story behind this guy had impregnated 2 girls. He had impregnated 2 girls while he had impregnated, so he was confused. He didn't know how to handle the situation. So my husband said, while they were coming to go to that house, they saw the crowd. The guy had already passed to the act. He had killed himself, and he killed himself in the presence of one of the baby mamas. So you can imagine. So I was just telling him, had you known then, do you know if you had gone to him and called him, like, I will not call his name, hi Paul, what is the issue? Can we talk? It would have made a difference.
Yeah.
That's not like today. He really, like, we had this conversation today. I said, had you gone to this guy's house and had this conversation, just knock at the door, because he had locked the door. He had locked the door. He was in his room with this woman inside saying he's going to end it. He was overwhelmed. The story of having impregnated 2 girls. He was young. He was just like about 30. He was in his 30s, or in his 30s or in his late 20s. Young police and whatsoever. So I think he was not really, like, he was not decisive on who to make his life with, and there he is, out of, let me call it, out of some promiscuity or irresponsibility. He's having 2 babies at hand. How do you handle that? So he was so overwhelmed, and for him, the solution was to end his life, and which he did. And on the other side, I talked to my husband. I was just telling him, had you gone to this guy's house, knock at his door and say, hey, Bo, let's have a chat, it would have made a difference. I don't know. That's what I told him. And really, like he told me effectively, we thought it was an empty threat. That's why I went to call his other big brother who he respects so much, so we could, but the time to go there and come back, the guy had already done it. So you see, as you rightly say, that one conversation, when you hear sometimes you look at that person, you see how desperate the person is. I understand fully well that sometimes we put ourselves in this mess, but where our entourage behave towards us will determine the outcome, whether we're getting out of it or we're ending it. Yeah. We either getting out of it or ending it, because this will be determinant where our environment reacts to what we say, what we do. I think it's very important. Or you need the grace of God to tell you, hey, stop. I think your purpose is not yet fulfilled. Stop what you try. Yeah, you really need the grace of God. Yeah, we know just recently another child who failed the BPC and he committed suicide. What had been going on before that unfaithful event?
Yeah.
These are some of the things we have to look at. But prevention can be possible. This small conversation you're having with somebody might distract the person from passing to the action. So so for me, prevention is reaching out to that person at the moment when the person is down the gutter.
Well, that's brilliant.
So,
and we are also aware that there can be some stubborn people out there. And just for fun, do you know that you actually guilt tripped your husband somehow? Do you know? By telling him that if he had done something, so there was a little bit of a guilt trip right there. So anyway,
he was because like he said, he was asking me that your program is what time, and he's the one who brought this topic. And I was telling him about one of our tenants' brothers who embezzled money and hung himself. And if fortunately for him, he didn't die. Somebody saved him. Up to today, he has I call it a necklace. He has a necklace because somebody saved him. You see, it's not an issue of guilt. I was just trying to explained to him, and he himself, he's like, but that's true, we thought it was some kind of, bluffing. It was some kind of bluffing and things like that. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry, darling, I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I stressed you.
Yeah, when if you have a close friend, obviously, if that happens to the friend, you as a close person to him, you reflect as well. You look into yourself, what is it that I could have done that I didn't do? And that's where grief comes in. Now you start grieving your friend, and then that guilt now comes in. If I had known, if I just knocked at that door. So, but sometimes we just have to act on our instincts as well.
Impulsive.
And yeah, and if we do have those stubborn friends who do not listen, at times you have to put on that mom. I usually call that mom or dad hat, where you have to say, right now you have to do what I'm telling you. So anyway, Mary, over to you. Suicide prevention, what is it all about? Can this really be effective?
Yeah, suicide prevention for me is reaching out to somebody before they attempt or commit suicide, right? And letting them know that there is hope. That is what prevention for me is all about. In my case, that would have been somebody reaching out for me, regardless of the smile they saw me put on, or the things they saw me do and stuff like that. Because if you know somebody in any capacity, you can tell if there's a change in attitudes, in all of those kind of things. You can, so
Yeah,
you can ask the person, are you okay? Like you just said at the beginning, you can just ask the person. I mean, if you're really close to somebody, like you, for example, like my grandson, I can ask you without feeling like I'm invasive. Like, why
of
you,
course.
I see you're losing some weight. Are you okay? Or I see you are putting on some weight. Are you okay? Because any of them can be an indication of anything. Or I
Something.
see you are being so sad, or I see you are being so cheerful. Are you okay? Something like that. That's what you don't know when somebody is going to commit suicide, for example, unless the person really says, I am going to, like in Ransom's case, somebody actually called to say I was going to bed. In my case, I didn't tell nobody. So you can only know by observing, uh, by seeing how the person is withdrawn, all of that. We are going to look at those causes and stuff. But if you do notice and you reach out to this person in whichever way, and you are now able to make this person hope again, and this person might even say, I was just on the edge, and because you reach out, I'm not doing it again,
Which
then
makes a
that is
difference.
prevention. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Just reaching out and just asking questions, right, Mary? Like you
Yeah.
kept asking me if this extra glow like this is not another baby coming up.
Amen to that.
Amen. Thank you. And Chinazo, what is suicide prevention? What is it all about?
Well, from a practical
Are you there?
perspective, suicide prevention. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, now.
Yeah, so I said from a practical perspective, suicide
Mm,
prevention is ensuring that we prevent someone from actually killing themselves. Having a plan to kill yourself is actually called a suicide plan. So the decision to kill yourself is the plan. So the suicide itself is the act. So to prevent suicide, I think a few things I can highlight that would help, that actually help me, is when someone, it depends, we need to identify a source of hopelessness for some people. Sometimes it's a medical issue or a mental illness, like it was in my case. In this case, it's not just okay to just say, oh, you're going to find help. For a very long time, first of all, there was a denial stage from me, my parents, and my family. So I couldn't get help. It took me to all sorts of churches, deliverance, but I needed medical help. Over the last 2 years, I've been on antidepressants. I've had to get diagnosed, go to the national hospital and get the drugs. And I've been able to live a functional life. But for 4 years, I suffered because my family couldn't accept the fact that I was mentally ill, because as far as they were concerned, madness was not one in the family. So, and for the mental illness is madness. And they couldn't believe that their daughter, who was a high flyer, graduated at
Yeah.
19, has worked for so many multinationals, worked for so many banks across Nigeria and the UK, could wake up and be mentally ill. They couldn't reconcile it. It had to be rich people. It had to be some kind of deliverance. So in practical terms, it identified the issues, showing about the issue of the man who got someone pregnant and all of that. To be fair, I don't think talking to him would have helped the solution. I think when someone is suicidal and you identify the issue, you need to give them practical steps for hope. You need to give them hope 1 second, 1 day at a time, something to hold on. The problem, I have a big problem with religious people, and this is from experience. A lot of people came and they will say, okay, you have to believe, you have to have faith in your way. Someone is hopeless. Someone cannot think. The only thing they can think is kill themselves. Now, if you identify their problems, you need to give them something practically to hold on to. While in my case, I was feeling hopeless, I didn't have a solution, I didn't know what to do. There were people who were keeping me busy, giving me practical help day by day. And it's important. And that leads me to the second point. Never leave the other person alone, regardless of what they are going through. And I know sometimes it's hard. I have to be on suicide watch. My parents come to watch me. They would drive the market. My dad would do his shopping and my mom would watch me in the car. And then my mom would go to the market to do the food shopping and my dad would watch me in the car. And I'm forever grateful. I think one of the reasons I'm alive is because I was on suicide watch for so long and I never had the time to be able, because if not, I would have kept trying until I succeeded. And the third thing to watch out is when someone is suicidal and all of a sudden, especially someone who has been very sad or depressed or very going through something, and all of a sudden they wake up and they are so happy, they tell you they're about to get on with their life. Now, when I say all of a sudden, I don't mean if you've gone through things for a long time, maybe someone has lost their job and got a new job, they're not going to commit suicide if they got a new job. But if someone doesn't have a job for a very long time, for example, and that's the reason for their hopelessness, and then they don't still have a job, and all of a sudden they wake up and tell you, oh, they're so happy, things are going to be okay, despite not having a job. That's the time to watch out for suicide. Because oftentimes when you feel like, when people who have been sad and depressed for a long time have a sudden burst of energy, that is because sometimes they've already had a calculated plan to carry out. All the times I attempted suicide, the time I was happy the most was when, I had my plan perfected and, I had convinced my parents and my family who were looking after me at that point to give me time to be alone, because I would be happy because I knew that today is going to be the end. I had all my plans out. So for me, the three things is give them a practical hope to hold on to for each second, for each day. It might not be as simple. I had a friend that, she always call me every day. She would put me on the phone for 1 hour. I began to live for those 1 hours. She lived in Canada at that point. And at some point, she moved to the UK. She was a doctor and she was in residency and she was working 12-hour shifts a day. But Fumi would call me 1 hour every day. And I was in Nigeria at that point. But I began to look forward to her call. And sometimes, even when I had the plan, I was like, oh, Fumi will call me, let me wait tomorrow. And so it was practical help and solutions. And there were times at my family, I had people, it didn't stop me from committing suicide, but on one occasion, I injected myself with a whole bottle of insulin and I passed out. But my family was there. They found me and took me to the hospital. And if there was no one with me, I would have died. So it's important not to leave people alone with the second point. And then the third point is the burst of energy. I remember at some point I went up there and I said, oh, I was going to be okay. I'm about me an apartment. And, I went there to plan to kill myself. They sent a cousin of mine to live with me. And I always say my cousin saved my life because I never had that moment to be alone, even though, everything was supposedly going all right. So those three things for me are ways that we can actually help to prevent suicide. And most importantly, when someone is going through something, try to understand what they're going through. And if you don't have any kind words to say or understand it, your silence is better than saying something hurtful to them.
Yeah, that's very, very. You are very right in that. Yeah, it's really good to be there for people, and it's really good, as we said at the beginning, to always ask. We are still going to talk more on what we can do, what can be done to prevent someone from committing suicide. So moving over to you, Festus, suicide prevention. What is it all about, and is it really possible?
Well, I think, and I believe that it could be prevented, and it's possible because we are humans, and the only way humans could better react and behave is to interact with other humans, and it is a social interaction that we have, because most suicidal individuals, they usually they give, most of them, not all, most, they will give warning signs or signals of their intentions. And
Okay.
so if that's the case, you could pick up on some of these signals or warnings, and then up with a preventive way of helping them. Once you spot them, try to do something, because we cannot afford to be like an island unto ourselves and then ignore it. That's why it's important to also have people in your circle. That's why I believe in you making friends out of intentionality, not just because we grew up in the same area, we went to the same school, we come from the same village, then you are my friend. That's wrong. That's just the
Yeah.
wrong way. You have to carefully choose who you let into your life, because
Okay.
those people, they have voices. Those people, they know you, they care about you, they love you. So if they have and they pick up certain signals, certain things that you've changed, you've switched, you're no longer doing, you're no longer the person that, like, you just in a flash, you've switched from like bipolar something. It would enable them to know that there's something not right with my friend. Then they will step in to say, hey, I've not seen you in a while, I've not heard about you, you've stopped doing this thing, is everything okay with you? And then also the time from the moment you identify and the time you react. I heard
Yeah.
Bella was talking about that as well. That time frame is important. If you can react quickly as well, you can see somebody who is going through something. I've had friends that have just called me up and say, hey man, are you at home? I don't feel like it today. And it's a Sunday. I'm like,
Yeah.
right, where are you? I'm coming. Let's just hang out. Let's go for a walk. Now, the words that come out of the mouth of people you surround with are so important.
Yeah.
Now, I cannot be dealing with something and then, because for me, there are certain calls I don't answer. I don't. I don't know. I don't have to call, but there are certain calls I don't answer. I choose when to, because what I'm dealing with at that moment in time, I know the voice, the other side of the phone, and that voice is the voice I don't want to listen to. The voice I want to listen to are the ones in my circle. They build
Yeah.
you up. They tell you, stop. Hey man, I know what you're going through. Where are you? I'm coming. We can solve this thing. I play volleyball. And most of the things I've learned in volleyball, it's so helpful when it comes to building relationships. Because with volleyball, it helps me to choose my friends. You have somebody who is serving. Are your friends serving you? Are you serving them? You have a server. You have somebody who passes. Your friend, do they pass things over to you, or are they just receptive? You have somebody who goes on attack. When you've blown up your life, do you have a friend who will stand in front and go on the attack, even though you're wrong? They still defend you and then talk to you in private. Do you have those people in your life? Because we all are humans. We make mistakes. We do stuff. We need people who would defend, who will block, but then tell you the truth in private to build up. Because once you feel like the world is against you, the only option you have left is exit. But if you have people who tell you, who form a shield and say, listen, man, you go off all your social media platform or whatever, we will face this world and we will tell them, no, it's wrong. We all make mistakes. And then we come back and see how to build you up, because iron sharpens iron, right?
Yeah.
So one man sharpens another. The problem we have with our friends and the people we stay as company is we have plastic, not iron. So there is no way it's going to sharpen us. We are rubbing against plastic people. How can they sharpen us? We need iron. So we're suffering from iron deficiency. Technically, in quotes, iron deficiency, because we don't have friends. We don't have real
That's
friends. So your circle is important. I choose my friends. I talk to them. I know what I say to A. I know what I say to B. I know that this guy can stay in my inner circle and see all my silly things and still watch me grow without killing me. There are some that will kill you. They step into your circle. Not everybody is supposed to. That's a good sign of maturity. Not
yeah.
everybody is supposed to know what you do in your private, because you're just being stupid, and then it affects your health. So when you have this team around you, you build this support system, you build this mechanism, it enables you to know that this is tough. I cannot deal with this. I have people on speed dial. I know that if I'm stuck, I reach out to these people. Most of them will look for solutions for me. They will say, okay, listen, man, It's hard. Now you just relax. We'll be coming. Last night I had two of them. People just come up and they just hang out with you. They just talk with for no good reason, just because they are friends. We need them in our circle because they help you. We cannot choose friends just because hey,
We
we
need
have this
friends.
alma mater and stuff like that. No, your
Yeah.
journey, you go as far in life as the team you have. That's how far you go in life. It's not about any other thing. It's the team you keep that will take you how far you're going to go in life. If not, it's going to be a very, very short journey, because as humans, we are either coming out of trouble, we are
Getting
either in one, or we are heading towards another. And if that is settled, then we need people
Yeah.
who can, because
Can
I'm
lift us up.
I'm an 80s baby. So there was a group called New Edition that came up with a song called Can You Stand the Rain? Right? So can you stand the rain? Because you have friends who cannot stand the rain, but they can stand the
Sure.
sunshine. So can you
Sure.
stand the rain? So if you're going to be my friend, I'm full of making mistakes. Can you stand the rain? Is what I'm looking
Yeah.
forward. So for me, we can prevent this by having and choosing friends intentionally.
Wow.
Whoa,
You nailed
whoa,
it. No, you nailed it.
intentionality.
I'll tell you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yep.
You nailed
brilliant.
it, huh? Nailed
Ah,
it. I
In,
just want to comment on the volleyball team. I played volleyball from 90. Well, I'm a former athlete. So
amen to
like
that.
it makes yeah, because I ran away playing tennis because it was a solitary game practically. That's how I
Yes.
started playing collective sports, and I think I will have to use it like that is what built me. Like
Yes.
to know the team you have. It's very very important. It's very, and then I entered. Well, I'm back to tennis because maybe getting to 50s is you can learn to be solo because you've tried all the teams.
Yes.
Now you're looking for a sparring partner. You're looking for a
Yeah.
sparring partner, a double, somebody you can play double with. Because as
Doubles
you
with.
rightly said, the friends you choose, even
Yeah.
your relationship, every
Yes.
relationship, the people
Mm-hmm.
you choose, you have to make confirmed choices. You have to
Yes.
make confirmed choices. And this again goes again to the discussion I was having with my husband just like this morning. Because
yeah.
like I told him I was just so exhausted. I told him after this show, I'm going off all social media. If you want to reach me, call me direct.
Yes.
WhatsApp, Facebook, nobody's going to get to me until Monday morning because I really need time for myself. I really need
Yes.
time for myself.
And
I've
there's
been
nothing wrong
working
with
for
it.
the past, there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong. For the past
Yep.
since I had vacation in March, and I've been online since March until today. I have been working virtually, and it's something you work like 24/7. You don't even
Mm-hmm.
rest, and I realized that I really need that. Like I'm getting overwhelmed, and who knows? I'm in an enclosed place where I don't have access to the city. So you can imagine
Mm-hmm.
some of these things can trigger really, like you feel so lonely, you're not with your family and things like that. Well, it's a choice I made. It's a choice I made to work in such an environment.
Yeah.
However, I need some me time, and that me time is very important in
Very.
preventing being overwhelmed. It's very important to prevent being, because sometimes this suicidal thing comes when we are overwhelmed. We
Yes.
make ourselves, like external factors, the relationships we create, the friends we meet, because sometimes it's a kind of friend who's around you who even push you because of the way they even talk to you. Some people don't
Yes.
even know how they
That's
can
true.
respect. They don't even know how to respect individuals. I can
Mm-hmm.
come to them and tell you secret, which that secret, the day it goes out, it's going to, like it's going to cost something because I trusted you.
Yeah.
And the moment
Exactly.
you say and this suicide is going to be like an honor suicide. Like this person, come on, what does this, like you think you want to defy this person because you're so overwhelmed, you don't even know what to do. So we really like the choices we make with the people in our entourage.
Yeah.
Like I have a lot of you, Claire. I never knew you. It's on social media and I look forward to seeing you. I met Marie. on social media because of the same causes. And today, I can't go to Cameroon without seeing her. No, if I go to Cameroon, I don't see Marie, I don't see Mark, and then I was not in Cameroon. If it means only meeting her for 1 hour, she knows where she can meet me. We talk practically. Marie is offline. When she tells me, okay, grandson, I say okay. But the day that if she tells me but from time to time in between, I try to check on her. How are you? Are you okay? How is it going? Because she tells me, I know she wants her me time to do her thing. She wants her spiritual retreat. I don't need to intervene. I don't need to bring her cases. I just keep it. I just check on her. It's very important, the kind of, as Festus rightly says, it's not because we grew up together that we must be friends.
Yep.
Yeah,
I agree.
because already growing up together,
That's
I
true.
take for example, I remember growing up in Boya. In Boya, those of us who were in Bunduma, we had issues with those in support because the support people used to say, those people in Bunduma, no, just imagine stupidity. Imagine the stupidity. You people who grew up in Bunduma, you people are children of. Excuse me, who cares whether your father was A or B or C, whether your mother was crying for food or whatsoever? Are we not all human beings? What is this conflict all about? What is this complex all about? Some of these small kind of rivalry, like they trigger some of these things that get you overwhelmed. You really need
Yes.
to have thick skin.
Yeah.
You really need to have thick skin sometimes to be able to overcome some these. Do I want to say this societal pressure? Because you have to think about yourself and say, I make society, I define myself. And
Yep.
it's so difficult to get to that level. You really need to be. It's not even being empowered economically. It's like psychologically, you have to be strong.
Yeah.
You have to be strong to be able to build that. To build that cave, which is your safe haven. I call it your safe haven. You need
Okay.
to be able to, and not everybody can do that. And we have to be very careful sometimes with the words we address, how we address our friends, the people we meet, even our social media friends. So
All right.
yeah,
Yeah, thank you
yeah.
so much. Thank you so much for that. So we really have to be conscious of the type of friends we keep around us, and also the fact that we've been friends from childhood does not necessarily mean that we still have to be friends now. And I must say to you that some of the childhood friendships, sometimes they crop back into your lives and they bring up stories, they bring up experiences which you've struggled over the years to forget, to bury them because they are too painful. I recently had an experience. I reconnected with a friend. Mind you, every experience, because it was a very close friend, and the friend kind of knew my life, what was happening around me then, and especially at home. So each time we are talking, there's a story coming up. Oh, you remember this time this thing used to happen? And at some point it felt like this person used to pity me then. And I actually discovered that I was becoming really depressed, and I wasn't too happy, because bringing back certain memories, you don't want them to be brought back. Yeah. So some of those childhood friendships, sometimes they just have to stay in at the childhood stage. And one of our guests, Chinazo, she will be taking off in a few minutes. So this question I'll be asking, let's get her to give her opinion. Then when it's time for her to go, then she will go. Then we continue. Okay, now based on your experiences, Chinazo, what can we do as individuals, as a community, to help people who have either who either have suicidal thoughts or who have actually attempted to commit suicide and haven't succeeded? Because I think that can still have a long-term effect in their lives. How can we help such individuals based on your experiences?
Thank you for the question, Sarah. I think as the first point, as a community, first of all, we need to take the first step, which is why I'm doing this, and I'm happy that you are also doing this, to have the conversation. We need to acknowledge that suicide is real. Suicide, from where I come from in Nigeria, a lot of suicides are not reported. when people die from suicide, there's still a lot of stigma around suicide. There's a lot of stigma around mental illness. There's a lot of
Yeah.
stigma to people opening up. So we need to accept that suicide is real, first of all, as a community.
Yeah.
We need to have a conversation more about what we can do. We need to let go of the stigma. And when someone has attempted suicide, like one of the guest mentioned something about saying, yeah, sometimes people bring problems on themselves. For example, a man who got people pregnant, he's made a mistake and all of that, and he tried to kill himself. I'm just imagining if he had failed to kill himself, he would have people blaming him to say, try to kill yourself. You got some pregnant. How dare you? And then you were selfish enough. And I need to say that oftentimes people think that when people want to kill themselves or not, that there's selfishness. It's not. It's just because they don't know what else to do. And so for them is the solution. So as a community, we need to provide more support. We need to let people get medical help for mental illness rather than telling them to have faith. I mean, in Africa, there's a lot of malaria, and we are okay to take anti-malaria. So why are we not okay to take antidepressants? This COVID-19, we are all praying for a solution, for a vaccine for the virus, and then the flu season is coming. We are going to be taking flu jabs. So what's the problem with taking drugs and antidepressants for people to live a functional life? So we need to start addressing the problem. And then people make mistakes. Life happens and a lot. But two mistakes cannot solve a solution. So when people have, done something, have ruined their life per se, if God could give us a second chance, then we deserve to give other people a second chance as well. And as a community, I think we can do more to help people to rebuild their lives, when they try to commit suicide, or when they are overwhelmingly depressed and whatever. But most importantly, I think like finding a solution to the problem that is making them depressed and facing these things is what we can do as a community. And most importantly, let's be kind to one another. Let's be human. Let's be seasoned in our words and in our actions. And oftentimes, like the lady mentioned, when someone reaches out to you for some whatever solution or whatever issues, I've had nasty experiences with trying to help people who had reached out to me that they were suicidal. I had a particular incident of a lady that I tried to help, and I'm grateful that she's alive today. But in the end, she turned around and paid me back badly. And next time someone reached out to me that was in the depressed state, I felt a bit reluctant to help. I also know that I'm alive because other people helped me. And I went ahead and helped this other lady, the second lady. And today I'm glad that, because even she couldn't come out to open to her family. So she had to reach out to me. And together we're able to get her to open her family, and she was able to get help. Eventually she ended up in hospital for 3 months, got hospitalized. And she is a doctor. And for a doctor who didn't open up to tell her family she was mentally ill, it's a cult problem. So I think that we should learn to be accepting, allow people to open up to us, give room. Like you said about talking about people, it's easy to say, people say, how are you? The question is, do we really want to know how people are? Do we just say it for saying sake? You say, good morning, how are you? In written, there's this thing they say, are you all right, mate? I find it very annoying and irritating. And I want to say, because if you're saying, are you all right, mate? Are you really there to listen to your mates to know if they're all right? If you're not going to break into them, don't ask them if they're all right, mate. It's okay for you to go. And if they say they're not all right, mate, if you're not up and say, I'm hungry, mate, I've got nothing to eat. If you've got a burger, split into give mate half. Because if you both leave, then you can find more something to eat. I know it's hard, sometimes people ruin their lives gently, and sometimes there's a limit you can help someone. But whatever happens, there will be the reason someone didn't make it. And I think that it's always better for us to do what we can and let's be human. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for that. Yes, we also have to be able to give that listening ear and be able to help someone, because as Chinazo said, if God has given us a second chance, why can't we give another person a second chance? That's really heartwarming. I mean, that field, it sounds really, really, really good, and that shows how caring you are. And thank you once more for that.
Thank you so much for having me, Clarence. I have to go. And thank you to everyone for tuning in, and I look forward to having this conversation. And thank you to my co-host.
You're welcome. Yeah, you take care. Thank you so much.
Goodbye, Ada.
Bye-bye. Bye, Ada.
Bye.
Okay. So let's continue. So we are going to talk a little bit more on what we can do to prevent people from committing suicide. I'll start with you, Marie. What can I do? We've talked about asking somebody, "Are you okay?" But are you okay enough? What I mean, like friends, like families, everybody around you. Marie, let's start with you. How can suicide be prevented? Let's elaborate on this.
Well, suicide can be prevented just by being there for the person. Suicide can be prevented by showing even tough love, like forcing somebody to get up and get out of the house. If you have noticed that this person has been staying indoors for like 3 days or not picking their calls, you can go to their house, break down the door, and force them to go out with you. You don't need to bring up the topic, why are you not bathing, why are you not picking my calls? Just go get them and say, let's go to Starbucks, or let's go to whatever, let's go for a walk.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes when you open up to people like that, you show people that you care, then the people can start talking to you about certain things going on. uh, Suicide can be prevented by sending somebody, let's just say, music, right? To say, have you listened to this song? Especially when you know the person is in a dark place. You can just, there's several ways to reach out to somebody without being invasive, without
Okay.
being all knowing. Because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes when somebody is going through a tough time, when we talk of suicide, we talk of people who are desperate, we talk of people who are hopeless, we talk of people who are helpless. So
Mm-hmm.
to prevent it, you need to first know that these are the kind of people you are dealing with. And so you want to be very tactful in the way you approach them. And you can just do what you can do. It can be prevented as well as it cannot be prevented.
Yeah.
That's for
Mm-hmm.
people who are already mentally ill and they are just in so much pain. Whatever you do, they are going to commit suicide.
Yeah.
I mean, people like Daniel Steele have lost a son to suicide, with all what she had. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
the man in Ohio who killed his wife and committed suicide, who would have known that he was going to do such a thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, the man in Nigeria who killed the girlfriend or the wife and also committed suicide, who would have known that he was going to do such a thing? Sometimes people don't even give you any clue that they are going to do such a thing, or they're contemplating such a thing. So all
Yes.
you can do is just be there for them, just encourage them, like somebody said. Just let them know there is still hope. For me, that is just it. Let them know they can be real with you. Uh, and then, well, if there is something and they really feel comfortable with you, they're going to open up and then
Yeah.
tell you, I was really thinking of ending it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. Yeah. Thank you so much for that, Marie. Over to you, Sis Bell. Um.
Uh, I think, as Marie rightly puts it, you can
Mhm.
you can invade that person's privacy at a certain point, especially when it's somebody you know.
I think
If it's
that
somebody you know,
I think that may apply to the point I made, that you reach that point where you have to put on the mom hat or the dad's
mom,
hat,
yeah,
where you have to say you must do this whether you like it or not.
or not.
So, yeah.
Like sometimes you don't. Like sometimes when you know your person, you don't even need to be that mom. You will
Mm-hmm.
that person jump out. You just need to know some of the things that the person like.
Okay.
It's going to be difficult. It's going to be
Mm-hmm.
difficult, like, but if, for example, as Marie says, if it's a Starbucks lover, because no, let
Mm-hmm.
me take for example, let me go back to Cameroon.
Mm-hmm.
It can be somebody who fancy eating puff and bean with pap
Achombo.
at the roadside. If
Yeah.
you know this is the thing, just tell the person, boy, I beg, can't leave me more, go chop some puff at the fillers or chop. That person will say, hey, maybe I even go chop that puff, maybe na my last time safe,
Mm-hmm.
it's going, like while you are there, you talk about
Mm-hmm.
different things. In houses, for example, like in houses, when you have somebody who's suicidal, how do
Yeah.
you prevent it? you know, like it's easy for people like the boy used, they said it was or the parazone or the javel or something like that. If you have
Bleach.
the sign, bleach, if you can see that your child is depressed, these are some of the things, rat poison, things like that. You have to already remove them. You have to remove them. If, for example, if like the police guy I'm talking about had his hierarchy known about it, they would have, like they would have confiscated the weapon from him. Had they confiscated the weapon, he would not have, because he put a bullet in his head. Yeah, he put a bullet in his head. So if things, like some of these things that even rope, because just looking at the rope, like even the rope that hangs around, the person can say, oh, that rope is just try to, like already try to make it so difficult for them. Knives, you have to lock the knives in a cupboard. Lock the knives in a cupboard. Try to make the house as safe as possible. We know that when they start coming, they calculate, they start telling you, what can I do? Someone will even look for a bed sheet. Someone will even look for a bed sheet to try to hang themselves. Try to, like, these are some of the things you have to do. Know your person. Try to secure the environment. For me, I think we have to try to put, like, make very difficult for them to be able, that you don't give them the equipment that will facilitate the suicide. I know, you have some people who use a blade, so avoid blades in the house. All this because somebody can just cut the hand, and
Yeah, and
it's
bleed.
too and, there's these things that we have to really look at. We have to, like, it's I think Ada was talking about the way she was looking forward to a call from a friend.
Yeah.
She was pushing it every day forward and looking forward to that call. And I bet you, if that day passed, if that day that friend didn't call, he would have, like, put some of this kind of habit. Make it a habit to take your friend out to Starbucks, and then they start looking forward to the next, like they start looking forward to the next date. Yeah, they start looking forward to the next date. These are some of the things, like, and I have this, I always tell my colleagues, because I'm in a big organization, there's this problem, we're so overwhelmed with work sometimes that you have some you have some bossy supervisors who only through their attitudes, they bully you unconsciously.
Yeah.
Unconsciously, you have to take the requisite action in it. Like, get that conversation first with your supervisor and tell your supervisor, hey, I don't feel comfortable with the way you're treating me. Can you do better? I will appreciate you respect me. I didn't
Yeah.
choose you. No, it's not your plantation. This is an organization where it's not your plantation. I'm sorry. We
Yeah.
have an objective. Am I meet? Like, these are some of the things, because you see, for example, I go back to France, for example. You have I don't want to use negative publicity on this company. This company has recorded the highest suicide of employees. What is it's an electricity company. I don't want to call the name, but they have recorded the highest suicide of its employees in France. You will just see it goes up the ninth floor and drops down. And the next thing you hear, it's a suicide letter saying conditions of service and things like that. There's so much. There's so much. And then on a personal note, if I have to advise individuals, don't get overwhelmed over things you don't have control over.
Okay. And at times, I think
Don't get overwhelmed.
and I do
Don't
think,
get overwhelmed.
yeah, I do think that sometimes too, if you have like such a difficult boss, if you look critically, the boss may also be going through issues. Unfortunately, most times we feel bad because we are being treated badly, and then we forget to put ourselves in the other person's shoes by asking what can that person be going through. And sometimes they are struggling themselves, and the only way they can express themselves is by being bossy, by treating you, bullying you, or treating you the way they are treating. But meanwhile, that's a cry for help. but manifesting itself
Agree.
in the negative way. So
But some organizations, just to tell you, some organizations, you who is being bullied, when you even cry for help, nobody is even there. Nobody is even there.
yeah.
In some of like in my organization, we have a staff counseling unit, which is very very helpful. It's
Yeah.
very very helpful. I am a peer helper in that. I'm a peer helper.
Yeah.
Sometimes like you get so overwhelmed you hearing people's stories.
Yeah.
As you said, just that how like sometimes I go off out of the consultation, you being a peer helper, I take my deck phone and call you, how are you today? And you make some pleasantries. They help a lot. They
And
help
yeah,
a lot. They
it
help a
really,
lot.
really does. Have you ever
Yeah.
thought of a moment where, for example, that phone call that Ada was always looking forward to? Do you realize that if you are in that that receiving end, you are expecting that call, and then somebody makes that promise to you that I'm going to call you, they don't call, you are disappointed because you were looking forward to
Forward. Yeah.
yeah, to that call, or looking forward to seeing the person. So I think
Yeah.
I can also say, if you make a promise to somebody, you know that this person is struggling in a way, you make sure you keep that
You keep
promise.
that.
And we should also, as friends, if your friend really gets angry with you, really gets upset with you for making a promise and not keeping that promise, the way I see it is that's a good friend, because somebody who doesn't care will not even be bothered
Yeah.
about the fact that you did not rest, you did not maintain
Yeah.
that promise. So Festus, what do you think? What can we do? What can we do to prevent suicide?
Well, I think first of all, we as individuals, maybe on the other side, we need to be more relatable. We need to create an environment where people can relate to us, where it is a safe haven for some people, where they can say whatever without feeling judged. That's why I developed a mantra where I don't judge whatever thing you tell me. I'm not going to act like, oh, I'm crazy. No, because it might be too small for you, but it is that person's reality.
Yeah.
And the reason they are telling you is probably because they need help. So they are sharing this story with you. So if you come across as being judgmental or stuff, they close up. Now, you've not helped anybody by being that way. If society, individuals, we become more relatable, we become people that we can be trusted with an information. It's not one way. If I tell A before I turn my back, you've already discussed with B, C, D, E, and the rest. There's no way
Yeah.
I'm going to open up. So whatever struggle I have is going to just eat me up, and then I might end up committing suicide. And the next one is people need to become real as well. You have to be real with yourself. And the thing is, you ask people, we talk about the questioning that you ask people and say, how are you, and blah 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 and stuff. Yes, but asking that question, are you also ready to hear the real answer to that question? Hopefully you're not just saying this to pass. And also the person answering, you have to make sure that you are giving the real answer. But that is dependent on the person you're talking with, because I've heard people where they're dealing with so many stuff, and then you ask them, hey, how are you doing? And then you get answers like, I am blessed and highly favored, too blessed to be stressed. And
We
I'm like,
thank God. Yes, we
let,
thank
let
God.
thank God. Now, like, hold up with that one. Let's be real. Are you really okay? Because I did this with one a friend of mine the other time, and then he actually say, actually, no, I'm not. You see, now people have this front that they put because they feel like it's weakness to talk about what we're going through, especially as men. Now, statistically, it's shown that most men commit suicide. The
Yes.
number is just so crazy. And the reason is it could be because of our culture and the way we're raised up. Because we tell men, suck it up. Men don't cry. And that's being weak. You have to be macho. You have to be strong. That's a man. No, that's a lie. Before being Superman, Superman is Clark Kent. He is a human being. Before having the S, that's just an actor. The real him is a human being, and he had kryptonite as well. So you have to be you. You don't have to come up and say, "Oh, I'm this way because of this. I'm this way." You just have to come and say, "This is what I'm dealing with. This is what I'm facing," and let the chips fall where they may. Now, we don't have to have this sense of perfection. because the sense of perfection, like a sister Amabella was talking about, the guy that had impregnated 2 girls and stuff, most of the time is because we have a perfect image in our mind, how we want our lives to look like, how we want it to grow, how we want it to be like in future. So when that goes askew, when things don't go to plan, we think the only way is to exit. But then we also have to remember that nobody is perfect. If that has happened, pick that thing up, as you said, Clarice, when you started, that the experiences that you go through, they are not just for nothing. If you get them, if you pick those experiences and run with them, they will help another person going through it, and you will become a point of reference because of what you've been through. So sometimes people need to also remember this stuff and be able to come up with solutions, safe nets, because social media, and also social media, people on social media, most of them are vicious. Some of them, they prey on your failures, your shortcomings and stuff. And if you think you have to go on every social media platform, and you think that when I go on social media, I'm going to just get something positive, 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 you're kidding yourself, because there are people out there who don't care about you. They are just fans. They are not your friends. We get confused with fans and friends. Friends are different. Fans are just there to do what they have to do, and they don't really care what's going on with your life. They just see what is going on, and you come up with a plan for your own life. That's why it's important as people that we have this surrounding. We have friends around us who are really important. People who speak into our lives. People that will tell you when you feel hopeless that there is hope. Don't give up. There is hope. We can go through this. I'm here with are going to go through the thick and the thin. We ride or die together. We need people like that. You need people in your circle who will tell you that, hey, you might weep today, but I'm telling you, you have a bright future. Tomorrow is going to be different. You don't have to have people who are professional mourners in your life. People who just mourn and complain and they don't know. I guarantee you, most of the people that end up doing stuff or showing signs of committing suicide or even murder, sometimes when they show these signs, their friends tell them, oh man, don't let it go. That woman can never do this to you, and then you just let it go. No, you have to revenge. You have to do stuff. You are putting somebody not knowing what they could do because of the words that you just let loose out of your mouth. Communication, the words you choose. You have to learn how to help a friend who is screaming. Scream. Most men scream, and people don't know they are screaming because we scream differently from women. We scream by going into isolation. We scream by withdrawing. We scream by going into a cave. But people get it. But if you know there's something not right, that's when your words become different. And one way it helps the person, and then we can have a society where this number of suicide will actually reduce, and hopefully, prayerfully, someday we hit 0.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much. Yes, we need each other in order to live. Sometimes people equally say, I can do without another person. But in situations like this, we need that friend to hold our hand. We need that extra person to give us that phone call. And if you are just watching, this is the Voice of Hope Media, and our edition is Let's Give It a Voice edition. Our topic of discussion today is suicide prevention, and what we are looking into why people decide to take their lives at some point. The Voice of Hope Media, we educate, we inspire, we empower, and we give hope. And we help you to be able to speak up, speak out, and know that you are valuable, and know that you matter, and that you are capable of achieving whatever you can achieve. You are capable of being happy again, whether it's after having a mental illness or after having survived a failed suicide attempt. We give hope. This topic today is a powerful one, and it touches almost each and every one of us in various ways. So we thank you all for watching, and we have lots of comments. One of them, which it's actually going to lead to our next question, from Stacy Baden, one of my friends here on Facebook. She's an autism parent coach, and so she says cultural dynamics have a significant impact on how mental health is viewed, and this can often lead to inappropriate responses to someone who needs help. So this leads me to our next question, which says, what are some of the cultural and traditional beliefs towards suicide? One of the audience, William, he actually said in Ghana, I think in one of the comments, he said in some countries like Ghana, let me put it on the screen. He said in some countries like Ghana, attempted suicide is punishable by a jail term. This is a wrong approach. It is not a crime to be depressed. So what do you guys think? My guess, what do you think? Those watching, what do you think? Is suicide attempt, is it punishable? That somebody attempts to kill his or her life and doesn't succeed, then we punish him or her again by putting him or her in jail. So are you killing the person more? Are you pushing the person to commit more, to try and commit suicide? Or what is it all about? What do we think? What happens in various cultures? Marie, what do you think?
So I should have been in prison. This is
Yes.
pathetic. For me, it is pathetic, because
Yeah.
I mean, from all what we have been saying, you don't attempt suicide or commit suicide from a place of life, from a place of hope. You do
Mm-hmm.
that from a place of hopelessness, from a place of desperation.
Yeah.
And so if you don't succeed, and then instead of helping you more, they lock you up. It's like right in there, I'm going to make sure I don't leave.
Yeah.
I'm going to make sure I don't fail this time around. So
Mm-hmm.
for me, it is ridiculous. Fortunately, that's not the case in Cameroon. And I'm like, anyway, so it will now mean that somebody has to report you. If you attempt suicide, somebody has to take you to the police station or call the police. Or if they take you to the hospital, maybe the hospital has to, report you to the. This is like, are we joking with human life that much? Somebody doesn't do that from a place of joy.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody commits suicide from a place of joy. I
Yeah.
wasn't in a place of joy. So that is even why people don't talk about it.
Yeah. So
This
coach,
kind of thing like, I'm going to be stigmatized, I'm going to be punished, I'm going to be ostracized. Oh my goodness.
mm-hmm. So culturally, how is it viewed? How is suicide viewed in Cameroon? Either the person has succeeded or the person hasn't. How is that situation treated? How, even the cops, how
I
is it viewed?
when I was growing up, I know a family whose matriarch died by suicide,
Mm-hmm.
and they never grieved her. I mean, it was, don't talk about it. I heard about it from gossip, and I know them very well, and I've never brought it up. They've never brought it up, but they know
Mm-hmm.
what I do and they support my work. But so for me, when I talked about mine, everybody is like, many people, oh, you're so courageous. Oh, my own family has never talked about it with me. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
it's just an abomination, an embarrassment. It's like, how could you dare?
Mm-hmm.
That's why I do talk about it, because I want people to know that we have to stop making, like, talking about certain things like even autism. I mean, a lot of things like, oh no, 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 God forbid, is the devil. This man killed the wife out there. Oh, it's witchcraft, is the devil. No, 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 no. Please don't say it. Those are the things we grew up knowing or learning, and it hasn't helped. They actually make you stuck. They make you feel so bad that you are feeling bad.
Yeah.
And to the point where you actually commit the act, you don't want to let anybody know. I didn't tell nobody. Because we are talking here about people who, some people are talking about people you actually see and or they reach out. I didn't reach out to nobody, you know, because I was just like, of course, you're a married woman, you seem to have it all, and what is expected of you is to stay there and to smile and to organize all of those events and to just be grateful for having this family and the cars and the this and the that. So you cannot
Mm-hmm.
tell somebody you are desperate. You cannot tell somebody you want to kill yourself. You cannot tell somebody you are fed up with life.
Mm-hmm.
All of that is culture. In addition to culture, you have religion. It's like, the devil. So don't talk about it. You'll have to be exorcised if you talk
Yeah.
about it.
Mm-hmm.
I
Well,
think that we are just missing
so
the mark with some of these maybe archaic cultural and religious practices.
yeah, I think so. Festus, what do you
Mm.
think? What are some of the cultural or traditional beliefs towards a suicide? Either the person who has attempted suicide or the corpse of someone who has died because of suicide.
I think now using the example, starting off with the example of the one the guy mentioned from Ghana, I
Mm-hmm.
think I think it's really not helping. The government could be using that as a deterrent for people not to,
Mm-hmm.
but it is not solving the issue at hand, because the reason why he or she wanted to commit suicide was because of hopelessness,
Mm-hmm.
and there was no solution. Now, you cannot punish them because of hopelessness. What if you punish me because I could not find a job, and you, the government, were supposed to provide me that job? Now I'm
Mm-hmm.
being double punished for something that it's your problem. Now that could be
Yeah.
one of the reasons
Thank
that we could use hypothetically. But then,
Mm-hmm.
on the other hand, I know of certain societies or cultures, villages, where somebody who commits suicide does not get a proper burial, right?
Okay.
And also, the family could be now viewed as an outcast, or also you could have where
you.
a taboo. And I know
Mm-hmm.
of certain churches who would not even do the funeral
Yeah.
because put yourself. Now I'm also thinking, and then you hear people when they come to the funeral sitting or talking about the dead, they are making judgments whether they're going to heaven or going to hell because they killed themselves. And that really gets me, because I'm thinking, you as the living one, you are not helping the problem. The
Mm-hmm.
problem here to find out is what caused this person
Person.
this, so that we prevent another person from encountering this or from
Yeah.
going through, because that's why people keep dying, because nobody is trying to go to the root cause of this to see how we
Mm-hmm.
could solve it, but rather we
Mm-hmm.
sit in our lofty positions and we make judgments and try to say, oh, but why are they going to go to heaven, or are they going to go to hell? Oh no, that is not helping anybody. The dead is already dead. Now, about the living who are dealing with this issue, what
Mm-hmm.
way forward? Now we bypass that, and culture has a lot to say. Like I said earlier, men growing up, African mostly men, black men. No, they tell you you have to be strong. Life is hard. You don't cry. Women cry. You don't show emotions. You're strong. You're this. We keep it. That's why another thing is high blood pressure. We don't talk. We just let it build up, and then one day it goes off. And because we are raised to be macho by nature, we think, hey, if you express the way you're feeling about this, it's a sign of weakness.
Weakness. Yeah.
But weakness is when you don't talk about it. Strength is when you can actually talk about something, you are strong. If you cannot talk about it, that means you cannot face it.
Yeah.
That's a sign. So if I can
Mm-hmm.
say anything to anybody going through any tough times, is to speak up, is to talk about it. Living it and not talking about it, for it to eat you up on the inside, is not going to help us. So culturally, as a society where we are more collective by nature,
Mm-hmm.
we encourage having people in our circles where we can feel vulnerable without being judged, so that you can talk
Yeah.
and let them know what you're dealing with and seek for advice. You go to even people who provide help. You have psychologists, you have institutions that I've seen, some people have been naming them, that provide help that will leave you. We need you alive. We need you alive. I need you alive, because there are things that you can do that I cannot do, and I can only enjoy it if you are alive.
Yeah. That's perfectly right. Oh, we need everyone alive, actually, and it's sad that that's how some people decide to end their lives. But so if somebody dies because he or she has committed suicide, our focus should be on what happened, what
Yes.
caused, what led to that person committing suicide, so we can talk about it and try to solve that problem to prevent another person dying because of suicide. Well elaborated, Festus, and thank you so much. Sis Bele, what about you?
Well, just like Maria and Festus said, I
Mm-hmm.
think our African societies we're not yet ready to even discuss mental illness. That's a big problem, because sometimes these what we need to start thinking of what are the causes, because it's sometimes like it's a root one of the root causes is mental illness, which is depression.
Yeah.
As Festus said, you don't have a job, you are hopeless and things like that. You just want to end it all. You just want to end it all. I know in some villages in the grass field, if you die by hanging, for example, they just dig a hole. They just dig a hole under where you hung,
You jump there.
and then they just cut your body and drop it there.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. This is some of the practices. Others, they don't even like, like they just wrap you in I don't know whether it's in banana leaves, and like take you to the bush. They call it the devil forest, the evil forest. Most villages, they have this evil
Evil
forest.
forest.
They
Yeah.
they take you to the evil forest to bury you, where your family cannot even, like, on let's say the day they're mourning the dead, your family are not even entitled to grieve. So they will never find closure. Your family will never find closure, because they're not allowed to grieve. They are stigmatized. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on with I'm talking here of African society. Most African
Yeah.
society, even, like, things. These are some of the things that we really need to think about. We always have to go to the root causes. This week, I'll tell you one funny thing. I was reading in the era of the samurai in Japan. They call it a form of suicide, which is called seppuku, which was a way, if you did that, if you used seppuku to end your life, you were respected, because it was a means for making up of failure. Yes, and a form of protest. Yes,
Oh.
in Japan, in the era of the samurai. That one I read it. I read it. I really I didn't have time to go in to get this thing, but that one struck me. And then sometimes in those days in India, women were pushed by their families or by their in-laws to burn. In India, how they cremate their bodies, fire and
Yeah.
things like that. They used to push the widow. They used to push the widow to do that, to die, like go inside the fire and kill themselves and
Yeah.
whatsoever. Which is, like, when you look at the way different cultures, I will have to go again and read, because these
Okay.
two these two instances really struck me. How can you commit suicide, like, as a way of, proving to the world that you're making up for your failure in life?
Oh my
Excuse
God.
me.
Yeah.
Why will a woman commit suicide because my husband died? Why should I die with him? Why should I do this? Like, when you look at cultural perspective of suicide, let us not limit ourselves sometimes to the 20th, 25th, or 21st century. When you
Yeah.
take it back, you have different forms, and I think this is what has propagated today. For example, the how do you call the Arab Spring. Do
Yeah.
you remember the guy? The onset of in Tunisia was the guy who committed suicide. Do you remember the guy who put petrol on him?
Yeah.
Can you remember
That's the,
that Arab
Yeah.
no.
Spring? The guy who
Yeah. Swing.
he committed suicide because of the vegetable issue and things like that. He was selling fruits and he was maltreated by the police. He committed suicide, and that's what really, like, that's what sparked. That was the immediate cause of the Arab Spring, the
Okay.
Tunisia Revolution. Yeah, that was an immediate cause. So you look at it in different perspectives, but excuse me, I'm looking at it on the level of the depressed, because for somebody to go to that level, the person needs to be depressed, and the person don't have a way out. And even
Okay.
if you don't have a way out, reach out.
Mm-hmm.
Reach out others. I understand fully well sometimes. I still talk again. I was talking with my partner today. We talked about you have some friends, who have that excuse me the word, they, especially for those of you who are out there, they think that because you are out there it's always green. You have a tree where you harvest, or you plant some pounds, dollars.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, like they make life for you uncomfortable, because sometimes I know that some calls, sometimes I don't feel comfortable picking them,
Yeah.
Yes.
because you don't even know where I am. You don't
Yeah.
even know where I am.
Yeah.
You don't even know. The moment I tell you there's no way, you get so upset.
Yeah.
I'm telling you the truth. You get so upset. I'll tell you an example. I am in the north of Mali.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in the north of Mali. Now I'm using my office resources. I'm using my office ICT. Under normal circumstance, I don't have network.
Mm-hmm.
Marie can tell you that if she tries to reach me, she will never get me. Under
Yeah.
normal circumstance, I don't have network. Somebody is calling you to tell you they have problem, and you tell them, I'm sorry. You tell them, I am sorry. I cannot be of any help now. The
Mm-hmm.
next thing you hear is like, you are wicked, you are this. Excuse
Mm.
me, you don't even know. You don't even know where I am. They don't, when you are out of the country, it's not every city or every town or every village that even have access to even, let's say, Ria, MoneyGram, or things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are some of the things, like they can make you feel so worthless. They can make you who's out there, who they expected something. They can make you feel so worthless that like you just want to like end
End
it
it.
all. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, seriously, the
Mm-hmm.
pressure, the pressure. I
Yeah.
lived in France for so long, and I lived in France for so long. Sometimes you even tell people you don't even have what to eat. They don't
They don't
believe you.
believe. Yeah. I
They don't
remember.
believe you.
Yeah. I remember 3 years ago, then I was going through the worst stage of my life, through my grief period. And
Yeah.
this another family friend kept sending me messages. I need help. I need help to do this. I said, unfortunately, I cannot help. I mean, the messages
Yeah.
kept coming, and I'm here sitting here wishing God could have just done something to make that little man come back to life. And somebody's there telling me that they need money to build a church. I'm not even a Catholic church, right? And then insisting and insisting and insisting. Then when you are grieving, obviously at times you don't really want to talk, you don't want to answer messages. At some point I wasn't answering, and the next message was, oh, I'm sending you messages and you are not replying, blah 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 blah. But what did I do to you? For over these years that we've known each other, now I need your help and you're not helping me. Unfortunately, I had to block that person because my mental health was shaky at that moment. I had to block, I had to stop the person, because those are some of
Yeah.
the things that can actually push you
Push you.
to
Yeah.
go to the next level, of to the extremes of doing
Yeah.
things which you wouldn't have done under normal
Done.
normal circumstances.
Normal
Yeah.
And
circumstances.
yeah, it's
Don't
horrible.
know. They really don't know what you're going through.
No.
But I will tell you, I've made it a habit now. They know me. They know me by now.
Mm-hmm.
You have a problem, it's not an emergency for me.
Yeah.
Your problem, I will look at it in 3 months.
Mm-hmm. Because
Yeah.
if it's
I
yours,
have,
nobody will
yeah,
make it an emergency.
nobody. What are
Mm-hmm.
you talking about? I go to Cameroon. How many of them even think that the money you even give them, they can buy a cup of njangsa or granite and give you to go back home with?
Maybe
I
do
was
it with
telling
them.
yeah, if Marie invited me, like I fought with her because she invited me to a restaurant. She's like, Grand said, no, I'm paying for
Mm-hmm.
this bill. How many of them will do that? How many people do always on the receiving end until they don't have any limit?
Yeah.
They don't know how to call you to tell you, to ask you, how are you? You receive calls. When you receive calls, it's problem. It's problem.
Unfortunately. And
Unfortunately,
yeah, and now,
unfortunately.
yeah, we continue. Thank you for the elaboration, sis Bele.
Yeah.
We continue. We've been live for 1 hour 38 minutes, and we are almost above our normal time. The topic, the discussion is so interesting. So we are gradually going down to the end of our show. So if each and every one of us can briefly say what are the short and long-term effects of someone who is suicidal, or someone who has suicidal thoughts, or someone who has had a failed attempt in committing suicide. What can be the long-term effects in the mental health or even the family? I would like to start with Marie.
Well, for me, of course, I will look at myself all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very careful about what I let to get to me, my mental space, because
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
statistics show, and I know that once you have attempted, it becomes an option for you.
Yeah.
And so, frankly speaking, with all what goes on in the world, I cannot lie that there has never been a day again where I thought to myself, what if I just slit myself, and just go? This is just too much for me, especially when people think you are so strong, you are who they look up to, and all of that. My grandson knows me, people know me, that times I just close off, I just stay grounded. It's very important for me. It has
Mm-hmm.
really affected my mental health. It was
Mm-hmm.
already fragile. Now it is like I need to take very good care of myself.
Okay.
I don't want to sleep again.
Mm-hmm.
And so, well, I'm not running any race with anybody. I'm not trying to be strong for anybody to clap and all of those things. I'm just doing what I'm doing, but I'm so conscious
Yeah.
about my mental health, and also about the fact that I can inspire a lot of people with my story. One thing that also happens is when you go through something, a crisis, you guys know, you have that possibility of using it now to inspire other people, to encourage other people, starting from my children, from my family. And
Exactly.
even
Yeah.
if they don't talk about it, I know that they know, they listen. At least my one of my siblings outrightly told me, wow, thank God you didn't die, you didn't kill yourself, because God knows I still need you, and all of that. And it meant so much to me. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that it also makes families to realize that, hey, we were at the brink of losing someone through this way. Suicide is actually like they had lost all hope. And sometimes you feel like I have failed my family member because I did not see them sleep. So that
Mm-hmm.
is something that also happens when they have attempted, and then you can see them each day and you realize that I almost lost them. And if you have actually lost them, you live with that all your life, knowing that I was right here and I did not see Nick in so much pain to the point where he could take his life away, and he's taking it. Who next?
Yeah.
And then the stigma on the family, people are like, that family where somebody committed suicide, nobody is marrying from that family again. I don't want to hear, all of those things. So for me,
Yeah.
those are, yeah, the effects.
Unfortunately. Festus, what about you? What
Well,
do you think?
I think some of the either short-term or long-term effects on people is I think it will be twofold, because depending on how much it affected them and the support system they had will also
Mm-hmm.
bounce back. Some
Mm-hmm.
people must be, normal, not worried about life or not trying to do anything, just staying in their corner and like, you know what, I don't need to worry about not having a job or whatever. Let me just wake up every day and then be grateful and just live my
Mm-hmm.
life peacefully. Some would react that way.
Yeah.
Others could actually bounce back with so much strength to become an inspiration for
Yeah.
others. Some
Mm-hmm.
will use that as a lesson and then say, hey, I've been there, I've done this, done that, and look at me now. I know what it takes. I can talk to people who are going through a similar thing to help them
Mm-hmm.
face what they are facing.
Yeah.
It's like Lazarus, for those who read the Bible. There's no way you can frighten Lazarus with death anymore because he's
Mm-hmm.
been dead before, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you cannot come and they say, hey, I'm going to kill you. He'll be like, I was dead before. So now somebody who's been through that process knows what it takes to
Mm-hmm.
talk to somebody. So I would encourage anybody who has gone through it to step forward and try to help another person. Each one get one is going to help the world to become a place where it will be hopefully suicidal free, and also where we could have discussions that are not so stigmatized about mental health, suicide, and all of this stuff, because they are relevant, they are things that we deal with every day. And for some people who think maybe it's just something we do, they should just talk about it as an event. No, anything that you deal with daily, you need to fight daily. So
Yeah.
anything comes across, because if you look at the statistics of people that actually take their lives away, you will be so careful with the words that are coming out of your mouth. So
Yeah.
careful with your post on social media. You'll be so careful with whatever thing you say and the people you come across, be it in the supermarket or wherever, because you don't know what your words can do to anybody. So if we change the way we talk to people, if we change the way we do it, it could have a long-term effect on their health, their mental health, and their longevity on earth as well. Because one word could be just one word. Somebody is just looking at something that will make them smile, and you might just be the key to that thing. So you never minimize what you're supposed to do. The effects are so rewarding for somebody who's been through it when you utter words that are encouraging, words that are supportive,
Yeah.
words
Oh.
of belief. And then the place where they could also find security in
Yeah.
sharing some of their difficulties. I mean, I tell people all the time, you can say whatever. I mean, whatever you want to say, you can talk to me about it. Hi, that I cannot judge you. Why would I judge you? If I will find a way to see how you got there and how we can move on from where you are in a way it's not judgmental in any way. Because when I do my own street stuff, I have people who, they anchor me, they guide me, they push me forward.
That's brilliant. And I also, in addition, I also read somewhere that it's also good to ask somebody that straightforward question when it comes to suicide, or when it comes to mental health issues. It's good to just ask you, are you thinking of killing yourself? Or have you thought, or have you thought about it? I know at times people will be very careful going round and round the bush and not really asking them that straightforward question. That's also because if you ask someone who has been thinking about it, you will know from their answer, and they will be happy that you asked that question, because at times they may be thinking about it, and they're also praying for someone to just look at them and figure it out that that he or she's actually thinking of doing something which is not good. So anyway, Sis Bella, what do you think? The long term,
I
short
think
term effects?
Festus and Mark have said it all.
Mm-hmm.
We really need to be careful how we deal with our people,
Mm-hmm.
because the effect, like we have to be careful, but
Mm-hmm.
also we have to be very careful, because as Festus said, one word is going to make that difference,
Mm-hmm.
positive or negative.
Yeah.
We have to be very careful. But I am one of those friends who I tell you can tell me, as he says, you can tell me anything, but
Mm-hmm.
please be ready to hear the truth.
Yeah.
I remember the other day I was telling one of my friends, I think we all have different communication style.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I might be just saying, maybe due to the nature of my job, I'm so direct.
Mm-hmm.
I told this friend, you made wrong choices in life. I am sorry to say that, but let
Yeah.
me be honest with you. You made wrong choices in life, but that is not the end of life. This
Mm-hmm.
person has gone through a series of relationships.
Yeah.
This person has gone through a series of relationship, and the issue, it's like this relationship failed, and the person is feeling, like pointing and accusing finger to the partner. And I
Mm-hmm.
told this person, no, there's one thing you need to do. Do an introspection of yourself and
Mm-hmm.
see how your relationship failed. This person thought that, this person said I insulted them, that she failed her I said, no, it's not, like this is I had to go back to this person to tell this person, I will not pamper you. I am sorry. The moment I will have to pamper you, but the moment I need to tell you the truth. And until you know the truth and take requisite action, which is making confirmed choices, you will always find yourself in this kind of problem. What
Mm-hmm.
are friends for? If we cannot honestly talk to each other and tell them,
That's true.
bro, this thing what you do is not correct.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow when it fails, at least you will remember that I told you that the stand you took or the way you started off was not on a good foot. It is very important already. We need to build, our friends need to know us. Let's not be gossip. It's very important. Let's not be gossip. Because what you tell me has to remain, it means that has to
Yeah.
remain in my tummy.
Yep.
It is a fortress. You put it in a fortress. That is it. It is in a fortress. This fortress, I built it, and you trusted that fortress. That
Yeah.
is why you came in to tell me what is happening. If you, for example, I'll just take a stupid example. You come and tell me, oh, me and Mark, we have this issue. I would tell you, I would discuss it with Mark. Are you comfortable me discussing it with Mark? For example, if you tell me, say, no, I don't want it, Mark will never hear about it.
Yeah.
Mark will know I had a conversation with you, but Mark will never ever know the details of the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I will have a conversation with Mark based on what it's going to be. I will be telling Mark, for example, it's a supposition. I'm supposing that this is what happened. This is what. But if on the other side, I take it now, and before you even know, Festus is aware, Ada is aware. This is one. No. It becomes really, really dangerous. It
Yeah.
becomes really, really dangerous. We
Mm-hmm.
have to always learn to have honest conversation with
Mm-hmm.
our friends. Let's
Yeah.
stop making it be cheap gossip, because
Mm-hmm.
this is going to affect the psychology of the
Yes.
person.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Yeah.
This is, well, I was raised that way. I'll tell you, my younger sisters will ever tell you that one, they ever argue. You come, if na Congo start, that one never even get it. Because I will tell you, I'm going to tell somebody. I'm telling
Mm-hmm.
you that is what it is. So be ready about it. But
Yeah.
growing up now as an adult, a mature woman, I will tell Festus, do you feel comfortable me talking to Clarice about this problem?
Mm-hmm.
If you say no, Clarice will never hear about this thing. It will remain between you and me. I will
Yeah.
have a conversation to solve this problem with Clarice without telling Clarice what Festus told me. I will
Mm-hmm.
serve as a bridge.
Yeah.
I will serve as a bridge. I will not say go and this, because it's so. This is
Mm-hmm.
some of the things that is causing hate in our community. We talk a lot, and some of this talk is a lot of lies. I don't know whether it is out of envy. I really don't understand.
Yeah.
I no, because these are some of the things I always tell people. Look at your 5 fingers. Every finger has a you. No finger is shorter than the other one, in as much as in reality it is short. They all make the hand. This is how society is. So we have to be very careful. We have to be tolerant, understanding,
Mm-hmm.
because the effect of what we're going to do is going to determine what the next person is going to do.
Yeah.
It's going to either impact the person positively or negatively. So the effects of suicide is just like everyday life. What you're telling this person is going to impact the person negatively or positively. So we have to be very careful how we deal with it. This is my own
Well,
yeah.
well, that's brilliant. Thank you. Thank you so much. And we are gradually rounding up now. Thank you once more for watching. Let's just give about 1 minute. Then we quickly go through some of the comments. I know Ivy, she mentioned that I like the volleyball analogy, and also we need to be safe ourselves and also find safe people to surround ourselves with, which is
Yep.
very important. Then, yes, there was a comment from our guest. It says volleyball has 6 players on the court with distinct roles to play: serve, receive, set, spike, and block. Your team should be able to do all and avoid those who receive a lot. Wow, that's brilliant. And then, so our next. Yeah, William said people need support, encouragement, and affirmation, not judgment and condemnation. We need to be aware of how fragile our friends are, especially the men who may appear strong on the outside.
Yes.
A misplaced statement could abuse them to crumble from the inside. and he says he was this week. William, we hope you are okay now. And if not, we've got listening ears. Actually, after this, I'll have to call you and we talk. So, yeah, he said, and he suggests that a visit, a call, a listening ear will help. And then, yeah, then William is the same person who gave the examples of some countries like Ghana. Yeah, somebody who has attempted suicide is punishable by a jail term. Then Prudencia, she said, what about social media bullying? It has pushed some people into suicide. What do you guys think? Yeah. Okay. And then T.
I remember in 2003, in 2003, I think that I still have that in an email. I don't know whether that was in Unibo. These girls' naked nude pictures were posted on. Then we didn't have Facebook. We didn't have Facebook then because Facebook came in around 2006. We had that in emails. This lady, we learned, finally committed suicide because her nudes were all over. They were posted across the globe. You know, stigmatized her, people ostracized her, you know, a lot of all these things, you know, like sometimes it comes like, you know, like people, you know, like people, instead of hiding, you know, like for me, a woman's nude, for me, it makes me sick. Any man who will, you know, like any man who will share a woman's nude, I have one of my cousins, he always falls on those things. He knows me about it. When he say, hey sis, you don't see, I say, shut up. I don't want it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to hear about it. Yeah, I don't want to hear about it. Yeah. How did it get on social media? Even the case of our famous number 9, I had the nudes before they ever went. I had the nudes before they ever went out on social media, and I was like, no, this is not true. This same person said, oh, send it. I'm not sending it. I deleted all.
Yeah.
I deleted all. What am I going to gain? What am I going to gain putting out somebody's nude or insulting a woman on social media, how she is barren, how she is childless, how she is dirty? Why not call out my sister and tell my sister, oh, see, I realize that you don't shave. I realize that you have a strong odor. I realize, hey, my brother, you know, my brother, the way you walk around, you are not, you know, like things like, these are some of the things that you do it in a subtle way.
Yeah.
In a subtle way. We need social media to build ourselves. We should not use social media to break, you know, like to break people. So so we have to stop that.
Yeah, thanks a lot. There's this particular comment. Let's just look at it. Mr. Eta Ewane says the use of the word commit carries the connotation of a sin in religious circles or a crime from the legal perspective. Religion sees the act of killing oneself as a sin. So when you say someone committed suicide, you invariably imply that they made a rational decision. Any ideas on that, or we leave it for later for comments? And anyway, we are still going to come back to the comments and then we reply. Yeah, because we are almost above our time and we've got other things to do. So as we are rounding up, we will just, anyone, if you have a final say to anyone out there about suicide, bearing in mind that suicide can directly or indirectly affect individuals. If I have a friend, if I have a family member who has attempted suicide, it affects me in a way, whether we like it or not. Yeah, because just like your husband, Bell, your husband, he said he could have, if he knew, he could have checked on the friend. That's going to have an effect on him for some time before he really comes to terms with the fact that actually there wasn't really a lot he could have done to save that situation. So do we have any final words for our audience, for our family members, our friends out there? Festus, over to you. Let's round up.
Right. I would say that in moments like this, one of the things that we could do as a society and community is to be good listeners. We need to develop the skill of listening. Because I've learned that there's a difference between somebody who is listening and somebody who is waiting to talk. Two different things. Now, a listener will really listen. And when you're listening, listen to what people say and what they don't say. Because people will say stuff, but then when you listen carefully, you would think and pick up some ideologies about things that they are not saying or discussing with you. Then from there, you can be of great help. It's so important. Don't just think that what you have to say. Sometimes people just want you to listen, not to say anything, because they have something in them they want to pour out. And in the you listening, you might then provide the help that they need. And also, our friends from today, I just hope somebody would listen and hear me out. Don't choose friends like you're playing bingo. Don't like or Russian roulette or whatsoever. Don't. You have to be intentional about the friends you make. Even the people who like your page on Facebook or Instagram or wherever, fans are different from friends. You need to have some friends that when the chips fall down, when things go bad, pear-shaped in your life, you have some people that will hold you up, people who would encourage and support you. These are key things in life. Forget about the noisy ones, the ever happy ones, those who only love you when you are happy, is putting stuff they cannot stand you when you are down. I've also come to realize, not to be too long on this topic, some people can deal with you when you are at your best. They cannot deal with you at your lowest. Some can deal with you at your lowest. They cannot deal with you best, because we do profiling. So long as we are all on the same level, no, we are cool. The moment you have a breakthrough, now you have to realize that there are seasons that people go through in life. Some friends go through a season, and you have to know when their season in your life is just over. Kiss them by with no pain, no hatred, or whatsoever. It's all love. But this is as far as we can go on this journey. And there's no need to feel bad about telling somebody goodbye. It is for our own good, because this thing will bring us conflict. Your season is just over. That's it. We move on with life. I see you, hello, no hatred or whatsoever. So our friendships should be intentional, and we should be good listeners. Listen to what people say and what people don't say.
Thank you so much for that. Yes, true. There are people who will be able to associate with you when you are at your lowest. And there are people who will not be able to, and others who run away from you when you've gone through your challenges. As you reach that peak in your life, they can't cope anymore, because they wanted you to still be at that level. It took me time to realize that. Thank you for pointing it out. Marie, over to you. Our final words for the day.
Yeah, well, it's been interesting getting these other perspectives, and that's what I tell people, that you can look at it from several angles, and you should look at it from several angles. You should know that you cannot just say, well, this is what the Bible says about this, or this is what I read about it, this is what I know about it. No, you cannot know it all. You need to keep being aware. You need to keep knowing that everybody thinks differently, everybody acts differently, everybody reacts differently. And when you know all of this, then you are maybe more mindful about the way you yourself express your thoughts, about the way you act, and about the way you react. Why? Because you don't even know the other person's level of sensitivity. You know, we have to be each other's keeper. We are social beings. We cannot live in an island, right? So don't you want to have harmonious relationships, or you want people to just stay alone in their corner and then you are there, or you want to only know them when things are good, right? I remember Oprah once said she doesn't want a friend who would ride with her in the limousine, but she wants the one who would take the bus with her when her limousine breaks down. You know, like
even work our food.
I want a friend I can walk on foot with. I want a friend I can take the plane with. I want that kind of friend. And if I notice that the kind of friend you are is just a friend who is with me only when I'm smiling and I'm spending and stuff like that, then I mean, I'm not going to value that friendship. And friendship can also be in families. Sometimes we are in families and we cannot even talk to each other in that family. I mean, talk like express whatever is going on, you know.
Yes.
And then when something happens, you say, "Ah, we didn't see it coming. Why she could not even tell anybody what she was going through? Did you
Mhm.
make the environment conducive?" I
Mm-hmm.
can try to say something, but the way you respond, some people be like, when
Also,
you just start, hey, not talk. So you will not talk because, well, they've already said no talk. Because that whole thing of na roof the cover or house or whatsoever, no, no, no,
yeah.
don't watch dating men in public and all of those kind of things. And it
Mm-hmm.
makes me personally, honestly, to be more outspoken than ever.
Yeah.
And then to guard myself against what I take in from social media. I give a lot to social media, but I don't soak in a lot from social media.
Yes.
I post a lot, but I don't go read everything. I don't. I make sure, and then the people I let to get to me, people can write all kinds of things on social media. I will not let that get to me. I can really
Mm-hmm.
block it mentally. Maybe because of where I have been, I know how to, take care of myself to a large extent, and who
Mm-hmm.
I can surround myself with. Call. So
Yeah.
I want to tell people who are struggling, please know that there is help. Know that there are people who have been through it like myself, and you can reach out either directly or even just by following me, reading things that I do, and being inspired. That's my whole purpose, to inspire and motivate people with my personal experiences.
Yeah.
And to families, I'm going to say there should be no shame, no condemnation. Somebody commented like that. Like, you want to kill the person again? If somebody has already been through such a tough time and actually felt like taking themselves out was a permanent solution, and then it did
Mm-hmm.
not succeed, then
Yeah.
you start treating them like, yeah, that is terrible. And if somebody has done it, please still honor the person's life. Don't be ashamed of that and say, oh, that was an abomination and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. No,
Mm-hmm.
the person was sick mentally, not you. And
Mm-hmm.
then not honoring their life now is like you're just so ashamed of their struggle. If
Mm-hmm.
somebody dies from cancer and all of that, are we going to be ashamed of that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. That's good. Thank you so much. Sis Bele, final word?
Well, it has been a long day with you
Yes.
all. I learned a lot of stuff, especially coming from Festus, Mag, and Ada.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as Mark said, we don't know it all. We should look at life in different perspective. I might say something and you understand it differently.
Yeah.
To be at peace, to be at peace with each other, we have to learn to differ with people, and in a polite way.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
We have to be polite to the victims or people who are, like, no, to people who intend to play. You have not yet fulfilled your purpose on earth.
Amen.
You have not yet fulfilled your purpose on earth. You still have a long way to go. Please, if you need to talk, there are service providers. If you
Mm-hmm.
need someone to reach out to me, I have people who reach out to me. I
Mm-hmm.
talk with them. But what I expect of you is to really be honest to me, because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I'm talking of, I think Mark will know this story I shared with her. One rape survivor who have been working endlessly to support in a far country, only for spending all this month, like she will come online, I will spend 2 hours with her, only for her 4 months after to tell me, let me tell you the truth. All I've been telling you was not the truth.
All
Yes.
that time.
From May until August, I've been trying to, because it was like, I got enough, I got enough. Every time we have a platform where we have rape victims. When
Yeah.
like, because rape victims too, most of them always have that suicidal tendency. So
Yes.
the moment
I
on
think
the
so.
platform, when I see somebody who is really like, like you feel like that person needs to talk to, I
Mm-hmm.
reach out to them immediately. I reach to
Mm-hmm.
that person immediately. Try to talk to the person. There is life after rape. Please, you need
Yeah.
help. Have I seen a therapist or things like that?
Mm.
So on that note, when you're reaching out to people, please try to be honest as much as possible. If you don't want to say the truth, just tell the person, let me talk. Don't make me invest my resources, because my
Yeah.
time and my resources, you know, the internet is some resources. My time is the resources. Please
Mm-hmm.
reach out. I will be there, but I really want to I want to stand with you when you speak out. And please trust me, I will be there for you. You can always reach out to me, send me a message. Mommy Bell, can I talk to you?
Mm-hmm.
I will respond to you. But on that note, my mental health matters. After this, in 2 hours, I'm blocking off social media until Monday. So I don't want to commit suicide. I am overwhelmed. I need rest. So 2 hours from now, it will be 8 p.m. my time. I'm going off social media until Monday, 9 o'clock when I start work.
That's good.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah, our mental health is really, really very important. I myself, you guys know what this week
Yeah.
means for me, and it's been, I don't know, I've had to do like 5,000 trampoline jumps because I want to burn that negative energy that's coming so powerfully. With yeah, it has a reason, but I don't want it. I don't really want it. And
Yeah.
then yesterday was really overwhelming, and you guys saw it. I haven't replied to any of the messages yet. I'm still going to go there. So at times we can actually choose what we want to take in and leave the rest. Yeah, so one of the things
Yeah.
which I've done is I've decided not to really reply to messages on Facebook because it's overwhelming. This week has been so overwhelming to me. So whatever anyone is going through, if you've had those thoughts that should I just take this, maybe that bleach in the bathroom, just dunk it down, or should I just take this is it tramadol or these medications, paracetamol, because people OD'd on paracetamol as well. Should I just take like 1,000 of them and just swallow and end it there? Or you may be driving in the middle of the road and you just feel like I just have to end it. This is an easy way. This is an easy thing for me to do, just to drive in and or to fall over that cliff, or just to go to the 5th floor and jump, or the 10th floor and jump. If you're going through those thoughts, please um, just take a break. Think again your purpose on this earth. Look around you. Look at the people around you who look up to you. Maybe your children, your friends, your parents, your brothers, your sisters, so many, even those you do not know. There are people who look up to you. Ask yourself, what is my purpose on earth? But I would like to tell you that if you are thinking of taking your life has a purpose on earth. You have a reason for being alive. Because if God wants, He can just decide on a single day and just take each and every one of us. So we should not be the ones to make that decision to take that life that was given to us. But before we end, I just want to say, know that you are loved, know that you are valuable, and know that you are worthy, no matter what you are going through. There is that light at the beginning or during the process of whatever you're going through. Sometimes you don't see that light, but I bet you it's there. It's there, just that you are being blinded by whatever is going on in your life right now, that your eyes are not open enough to be able to see that light. But there is a light, and there is hope, as we always say.
There's hope.
Yes, there is hope. So it's the end of our show today. Sister Belle, I just want to say a special thank you to you. Festus, I mean, you just have to come over, or I come over. We have our bottle of glasses of Baileys. What's your choice?
Oh,
Marie,
yes.
Marie, thank you so much. I mean, someday we are going to meet in Cameroon, here in the UK, Sister Belle in France or in Mali, wherever. We will meet someday, and all of us are going to eat cat and what have you. So you all have a good weekend, and it's been a pleasure having all of you. And I know that this topic, suicide prevention, has prevented somebody from committing suicide today or tomorrow or in the long run. And stay blessed, stay tuned, and I love you always. This is Clarice Angerford. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.